All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to trace the ultimate journey from feeling totally overwhelmed by your circumstances to achieving genuine self-mastery and continuous growth. We're breaking down one of the absolute most powerful frameworks ever created for personal effectiveness. If you've ever felt like you're just kind of reacting to the world around you instead of actively shaping it, well, the sequence we're about to explore literally changes everything.
Now, here is the core philosophy we're dealing with. To really fix our lives, we can't start by pointing fingers at external factors. We've got to strike right at the root and change our own internal paradigms. Too often we try to alter our circumstances, or worse, we try to change other people first. But as Stephen R. Covey points out, real lasting change, it absolutely requires an inside-out approach. It fundamentally starts with your own character and your own motives.
And this whole concept is based on Dr. Covey's enormously influential framework. He basically distilled 200 years of success literature into this incredible principle-centered approach. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People isn't just a random collection of quick life hacks. No, it's a holistic foundation that completely shifted how millions of people understand personal development, because at the end of the day, it deals fundamentally with who you become as an individual.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The inside-out approach, 2. Winning your private victories, 3. Putting first things first, 4. Winning your public victories, 5. Seeking synergy with others, and finally, 6. The upward spiral of growth.
Starting things off with Section 1, the inside-out approach, and how shifting your paradigm is step 1.
So this right here illustrates the maturity continuum. It's the progressive reality that you absolutely must achieve private self-mastery before you can ever hope to build lasting, trusting relationships with anyone else. True effectiveness across this journey isn't just about grinding out more results. You have to balance your desired results, the golden eggs, right, with your actual capacity to produce them, the goose. Think about it. We all start life totally dependent on others. But the goal of the first 3 habits is to move us out of that and into true independence. Only then, as truly independent people, can we choose to combine our efforts with others to reach interdependence. And surrounding this whole entire process is the ongoing habit of renewal.
Which brings us to Section 2, winning your private victories, where we focus on actually achieving that independence.
All right, habit 1 is be proactive. And hey, this isn't just about taking action. It's actually about responsibility, literally the ability and freedom to choose your response no matter what your circumstances are. And that starts with the very words you speak. Notice the massive difference in language here. Reactive people, they let their environment dictate their mood. They say things like, I can't or I have to. But proactive people, they deeply understand that between a stimulus and the response, they have the ultimate power to choose. They say, I can and I choose to.
Now, if you want to be truly effective, you've got to focus your energy intensely on your circle of influence, rather than wasting your time worrying about things like the weather or the economy. Look, we all have this wide circle of concern, right? It's filled with things we care about but simply cannot control. But by zeroing in on what you actually can control, your own thoughts, your habits, your reactions, your circle of influence actively begins to expand.
Moving on to habit 2, which is the habit of personal leadership. This teaches us that all things are created mentally first. And that is exactly why writing a personal mission statement to define your values is an absolute game changer. I mean, you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, right? Of course not. So in the exact same way, you shouldn't build your life without a super clear vision of your end destination. Having this unchanging core gives you the security and the wisdom to navigate absolutely anything life throws at you.
Let's move into Section 3, putting first things first, where we start mastering our time and priorities.
Okay, the time management matrix. This is a legendary tool. Your ultimate goal here is to prioritize the activities in Quadrant 2. These are the things that are important but not urgent, so you aren't just constantly running around reacting to crises. The reality is, most people live totally trapped in Quadrant I, basically just putting out fires all day, or they escape into Quadrant 4, completely wasting time on trivia. But Quadrant 2, that is where the magic happens. It's where relationship building, long-term planning, and real true personal growth actually take place.
To help with this, Covey highly recommends weekly planning over daily scheduling. This helps firmly anchor your unchanging principles right into your calendar, so you're managing your life from a really stable center. The key here is not to prioritize what happens to be on your schedule, but actually schedule your priorities. By identifying your key roles and selecting just a few critical goals for each role every single week, you ensure genuine balance and coherence in your life.
On to Section 4, Winning Your Public Victories, where we make the shift to interdependence.
Now, Covey uses this phenomenal metaphor of an emotional bank account. It's basically a ledger of trust that dictates the health of every single relationship in your life. Just like a normal financial bank account, you make deposits to build up a reserve, and you make withdrawals when you're discourteous or when you break trust. It's pretty simple. Without a healthy balance of trust, true communication and teamwork are just impossible.
So, if you want to build immense trust, here are 6 explicit actions you can take today to make massive deposits into someone's emotional bank account. Honestly, it's very often the little things, Small acts of kindness, keeping a minor promise, or just clarifying an assumption before a project even starts. Those yield the highest returns. And hey, when you do mess up, which makes a withdrawal, a really sincere apology is the absolute quickest way to repair that balance. And that brings us to habit 4, think win-win, which absolutely requires an abundance mindset. It's this deep, deep belief that there is more than enough success out there for everyone. Win-win isn't just some polite business technique, it's a total philosophy. It means completely rejecting the idea that for you to win, someone else has to lose. It requires a really unique blend of the courage to express your own feelings, mixed with deep consideration for the other person's perspective.
Building heavily on that trust, Habit 5 requires a massive paradigm shift. We must seek first to understand. This means stepping entirely outside of our own frame of reference to truly hear another person. Think about it for a second. Most of us listen just waiting for our turn to speak, right? But empathic listening means opening yourself up to actually be influenced by others. And because you've already built that solid, unchanging core back in Habits 1 and 2, you have the personal security to do this without losing your own identity. Let's dive into Section 5, Seeking Synergy with Others, focusing on creative cooperation.
Habit 6 is synergize. This is where the whole becomes vastly greater than the sum of its parts. How? By actively valuing our psychological differences to uncover entirely new third alternatives. When we finally realize that everyone perceives reality differently, we stop arguing over who is right, and we start actually combining our perspectives. Now, this catalytic process can be a little scary because you have to let go of your old paradigms. But man, it creates wildly innovative solutions that neither person could have ever reached on their own.
Finally, Section 6, the upward spiral of growth, and what it means to sharpen the saw. Habit 7 is the engine of self-renewal. It reminds us that to actually preserve our capacity, we absolutely must take the time to eat right, get some rest, and exercise. It forces us to step back and renew the 4 core dimensions of our nature. By actively investing in your physical health, your mental clarity, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual center, you maintain the very instrument, which is yourself, that's required to practice the other 6 habits.
And you see, renewal isn't just a static loop. It actually empowers us to move continuously upward on a spiral of growth, learning, and doing on increasingly higher planes. As you sharpen the saw, your ability to be proactive improves. Your ability to think win-win improves. Every single time you cycle through these habits with a renewed self, you operate at a much, much more profound level of effectiveness.
So I'm going to leave you with this final challenge as you step away from this explainer today. Take control of your time and go make a meaningful deposit. Take a hard look at your own life right now. Are you trapped in the stressful urgency of Quadrant 1, or are you actually building your future in Quadrant 2? And who in your life needs an emotional deposit today? Real change happens from the inside out, and it starts with the very next choice you make. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep growing.